I went to Evergreen Eating Recovery Center in Denver, Colorado. And I got there and there was a whole team for me, a therapist, a psychiatrist, a nutritionist. There were nurses and PCAs, which are patient care associates. It's essentially like therapists in training who just kind of like go around the building and see if everything's okay. And, you know, there was no exercise allowed or excessive movement and no stairs. There was an elevator up to the facility. That was it. And, you know, there were meals at a certain time and there were napping areas. You weren't allowed in your room though during the day because they wanted you to socialize, and there were group rooms and there were group activities and they gave you journals and art therapy. And, you know, there were different groups on different subjects, sort of like there was a group on sexual assault. There was a group on getting in touch with your physical body. There was a group on the self-hate shame cycle, which like went over just literally how your brain processes the information and turns it into things that they view as facts. Personally, what I did the first week was I literally filled up an entire journal with Sharpie doodles. And then the next week I wrote a poem to accompany each one. Like, I am someone who needs a project. And that was something I could do. I could just, you know, I could go to groups and I could have something that I felt like was mine and I was doing, but wasn't distracting from the group. They also had music, like there was a guitar that you could play, and I wound up actually learning to play guitar in treatment, which was great. I mean, just the sense of there being so many different types of people with the same illness and same struggles as you was incredibly helpful, and really learning to open up, even if at first it seems ridiculously corny and you're like, I'm not a granola cruncher, like I don't want to be this person, but then you're like, oh no, this is what all people need to do. People need connection. People need to share and talk, and I like doing things myself. So to ask for help or to admit that is very difficult for me, as I think it is with a lot of people. So just having that sense of like everyone sitting there and talking about everything, and you know, that it's okay and it's safe and it's, you know, not every person will be what you need, but to know that there are just people out there who can be what you need and who you can ask for help. And it's sort of, I don't know, restored my faith in people, I guess. Definitely the first few months that I was out of treatment was like, what the hell do I do now? Because especially at that age where I'd been at this one school my whole life, and then, you know, I was in modeling and then I was in treatment, like these three very consuming worlds, and then to be in kind of just the regular world, not being a model, not being in school anymore, not being in treatment, just being like, okay, you can do whatever you want now. And you're like, ah, that was very scary. And it put my control issues sort of like, it was like so much was happening that, you know, there was sort of a backslide / like I wasn't really sure what to do, but I found my footing more and more and focusing on, I think mainly what has led to my continued success in recovery, I suppose, is my focus on the things that drive me, which for me is my work, it's my acting, it's my writing, it's the things that I can't do if I have my disorder. Especially at the beginning, like I would just work and I would just write, and, you know, it became sort of like, okay, now it's time for food. Like I would just time my meals and be like, okay, now it's time for food so that I can keep working. And it just became like sort of a background thing. And then it became something that I could more embrace. You know, keeping yourself grounded in your work or the things that motivate you while being open to other possibilities.